If you're using breastfeeding as a birth control method, make sure that you're following everything for a T, otherwise you'll end up pregnant or with your period, like me. Hi, I'm Kelly. I am a mostly stay-at-home mom to 3 perfect little girls, and I am breastfeeding a 4.5-month-old around the clock, and I am also breastfeeding my toddler 3 times a day, and I still got my period this morning. So in order for the lactation amenorrhea method to work for you, you need to be breastfeeding at least every 4 hours during the day and at least every 6 hours overnight, not skipping a feed ever. And you need to be feeding at least 8 times a day in order for this method to be effective. If you skip one feed, it can throw up the whole method. So breastfeeding with this method suppresses the release of hormones that stimulate ovulation, which is why you don't get your cycle back. The reason that this doesn't work after the 6-month mark is because you start introducing solids to baby, and usually your baby starts sleeping longer at night too. I should also add that most experts agree that if you're exclusively pumping, this method isn't for you. Because although your baby is getting pure breast milk, the act of suckling from the baby is different than the use of a pump, unfortunately. I will say that this method worked for me up until the point that I knew I was ovulating. I can actually personally feel when I'm ovulating, and I knew 2 weeks ago that I was ovulating, and I actually woke up from the pain of ovulation, which is really strange for me. I definitely knew that it was coming 2 weeks later, and lo and behold, here we are. The reason that I ovulated at 4 months postpartum, and the reason that I got my cycle back this morning, I think is actually because I introduced a pacifier. According to most of the experts, you're not supposed to use a pacifier for the baby. The baby should always be suckling at your breast. But as a mom of 3 with 2 older children, I just don't see that as a possibility for her to use me as a pacifier as much as she likes a pacifier all day. So unfortunately, the method failed for me. I'm actually breastfeeding my baby during the day every 2 to 3 hours and overnight every 3 to 4 hours. So I was actually more surprised that with how often I'm feeding during the day and night, plus feeding my toddler 3 times a day, that I got my period back. I was just shocked, to be honest. I hope some of these tips actually work for you though. Just know that you need to listen to your body. If you start seeing cervical mucus that looks like it might be ovulation mucus, it probably is. But watch it closely because you just never know. With my first, I didn't get my period back till 9 months postpartum, which was such a relief. But these last 2 times, it's been 4 months and 4.5 months, and I think it's just because my little girls have been super effective breastfeeders. They're done breastfeeding within like 5 to 7 minutes, both sides. You can't really see here, but she is in like the 77th percentile. She is growing, she is thriving, she is doing great. So everything is good there. She isn't spending enough time at the breast to help suppress those hormones that are responsible for ovulation. I hope this helped you, and if you want any more information on the LAM method, just message me. I'm happy to share.